I just want to make a disclaimer saying I'm not an anthropologist, or I do not have doctorate degree or even a master's in anthropology, and I just want to get like a friendly conversation going on, nothing formal. I am a college student, so I've learned a little bit, like the basic though, like nothing compared to like a real scholar of anthropology. Anyways, when we talk about race, what race are we talking about? Are we saying, oh, the human race? This is a great step for the human race. Are we talking about cattle? This race of cattle? There is such thing. Or like, what ethnicity are you from? Where from? Ethnicity? That made no sense. The type they ask in the type that they ask in the census or in other legal document. So, anthropologist Ashley Montagu said that race is man's most dangerous myth. So, as you know, a myth is not fact. It's just something that is believed. Because it had many damaging misconceptions and many damaging stereotypes that had zero validity. And she suggested that we replace the word race with ethnicity. So, race and ethnicity. Okay, so what's the distinction? I went to the Oxford Dictionary, and it says, race for race. Each of major divisions of humankind having distinct physical characteristics, conditions. A group of people sharing same culture, history, language, and ethnic group. Wait, an ethnic group? I thought we were supposed to replace race with... Are they saying that an ethnic group can have the same race? Maybe, but not all. That's not true all the time. Like Hispanics, supposedly they have different races, and I put in quotation marks because we're trying to find out if race exists or not. So then ethnicity says the group, the fact of state of belonging to a social group, national or cultural, with their national cultural traditions. Okay, so that implies no race at all. That just implies traditions, basically. So I guess that's a better way to put group of people. So why do race matters? In a biological sense, scientists says that it does not matter. It makes no difference. Yes, group. I'm gonna make okay. Group A, yeah, has this characteristic. This. Group B has these characteristics that are like most common in that group. Group C, so and so. So yeah, but there's much variation. There's so much variation that it's not even important. And people have been like, mixing races since like first two humans met from like the first time. So biologists say it doesn't matter. So they say that it's not real, right? So what's the point of all these census questions asking us if race is real? What race are we? Like, what's the point? Because race does have cultural implications, even if it does not have biological. And by cultural, I mean not only like, oh, I'm this race, I'm proud of my heritage that I represent. Yeah, that's one part of it. Yeah, it is important in that part that people feel proud, a sense of belonging. But there's also another part that is like the society asking you what race are you? And they say, if it does not matter, then why are you asking me what race it is? If it has no biological implications at all, what's the point? And it's that throughout all history, if you see, when there's more than one group of people living in the same place and they're different, there's always one group that, there's two groups fighting for all the same resources, the moolah, I don't know, whatever thing. So this group wants it, this group wants it. So what are they gonna do? There's not enough. So this, usually one group oppresses the other group, and oppresses them so that only that group can have these benefits of these resources. So it's a battle of resources, basically. Because there's not enough to go around, as we know. Okay, they say, oh, because of things that happened in the past, we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So that's why we need to ask these groups, oh, what race are you? So we can aid you. So why don't you do it by poverty? Why don't you do it by, oh, let me aid you if you're poor, no matter what race you are, I'll help you out, if you need resources, whatever it is that they need. That's a lot of things. So yeah. So what's the, and I understand that people are proud. And yeah, that's cool. But you could be proud of so many other things. You could be proud of your ethnicity, of like your hood, of your west side, east side, your culture, because based on race is not a culture. Different races have different cultures. So not all the same race has the same culture. So that's what you should be proud of, your traditions, I don't think it should be important, this race, but so let's review this. Does race exist? Yes and no. Why? Because in the biological sense, it says, no, it doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. But in the cultural sense, it exists. It does matter. Because it shapes the social sphere. It shapes so many different things that it does matter in that sphere, either good or bad. It has certain implications if you're race A or race B, which it shouldn't, right? So why don't we just eliminate it, exit out? It's a continuum, how sometimes you have in gray, black to white, and it's like a continuum of grays. Most people are grays. They're not black or white. They're just so it's like a continuum. There's not from here is this color. From here is this color. No, because it graduates so slowly that it doesn't even make a difference. So I just want to think about that people have so much more in common than they have differences. We're so much more similar than we think, than we are apart. Because yes, what matters is the social context. That's the one that makes us, have these certain traditions. So yeah, traditions are cool, oh, look how this person does this, look how this person does this, an integration, and you can conserve it. That doesn't mean that you have to throw it away and get, just because you moved to another country, mean that that you have to adopt the culture. You can still keep your culture, Of course you are gonna get some of the culture of the whole society. But I'm saying that all these bullshits, all these racist people that are just Group A is lazy, Group B doesn't like to work, Group this, please. They say that, immigrants just, whatever, they don't, or blacks are, lazy and they don't want to do work or anything. And it's I've seen people that come from all the way other countries. Haiti, China, Cuba, and those people, they, or like Central America, a lot also, they scrub and scrub, and you cannot say that those people are lazy or don't want to work. And sometimes people are like, oh, race, can be good because, those people that suffered in the past, like, we can, like, help them and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you could help all the people that are poverty, like poverty level. You don't necessarily have to know what race they are to help them. So, is it really that important? Is it really that different? The physical, they say that there's more variety within the same race than within races. How is that even possible? So it's like, what's the difference? Like, what is it? Like since the beginning of time, people have been mixing. What's the difference? When did race start becoming important? We can talk about that another day. When did race and why? We have to see the implications of why. Does this person do this better than the other person? We don't have only to look at what we have at face value. We could also look at the social context that they're in. Oh, and another famous one is like, oh, look at this person. This person, this group suffers from high blood pressure, high blood pressure, and that's because they're all black. Oh yeah, really, it's really because of that. It wouldn't have nothing to do with the fact that their food has a lot of they consume a lot of fatty foods. Like within generations, that's what's being passed on. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's just like, it's just, maybe that's why. Maybe it's not something inside of them that's different. Maybe we have to look at what's going on, the surroundings, before we can make a judgment. And people say, oh, they can look at the cadavers and be like, like the corpse, and be like, oh, this was a black person, oh, this was a white person, oh, and it's like, oh, you see how they can determine? Oh no, it's not because of that. It's because they have certain traits. First of all, if it's in like this certain area, oh, group A lives there, group B lives there, so it's a possibility that they're from there because that's what they're close to. But there's another possibility of looking at the traits. Oh, these traits are usually found in more than in group A than in group B. Oh, must be group A. Because of all the traits that are similar in that group. Not because there's something inside of us, inside our bones, that says child-rearing hips or something that can tell, oh, if it's a African American or Asian American or whatever. So yeah, I just want everyone to think about that. What you've been taught. The person right next to you in school, let's say, or something, is trying just as hard as you to pass the test. Maybe. I mean, there's but most people, want to pass the test. And all people have difficulties, obstacles. Ones are some kind, the others are another type. But we all face them. We all face the same things. So instead of like